It's the most copied, the most desired, and the most debated luxury watch in the world. From James Bond's wrist in Dr. No to billionaires and business leaders today, the Rolex Submariner isn't just a timepiece, it's a global icon. But here's the question. After more than 70 years, why does the Submariner still reign supreme? Stay tuned, because the answer lies in a unique mix of history, culture, and collector passion that no other watch has matched. Welcome back to Luxe Pulse, where we dive into the world of luxury watches, exploring heritage, craftsmanship, and collector value. Today, we're looking at the Rolex Submariner, arguably the most famous sports watch ever made. It debuted in 1953 in the golden era of recreational diving, as the first watch capable of withstanding depths of 100 meters. But what makes the Submariner stand out is that it was never just a tool. It was a blend of rugged durability and refined design. A watch that looked just as natural on a diver's wrist underwater as it did paired with a tuxedo. By the end of this video, you'll see why collectors, investors, and everyday enthusiasts continue to crown the Submariner as king. And I want you to tell me in the comments if you agree or if another watch deserves the crown. Let's rewind to the early 1950s. The world was fascinated by exploration. Jacques Cousteau was making documentaries that brought the underwater world into living rooms. Diving wasn't just for the military anymore, it was becoming a hobby. Rolex spotted the opportunity and set out to build the ultimate dive watch. In 1953, the Submariner, reference 6204, was released. It was water-resistant to 100 meters, thanks to Rolex's patented oyster case and the brand's innovative screw-down crown. This was groundbreaking. Remember, most watches at the time were barely splash-proof. The Submariner quickly gained a reputation for toughness. It wasn't long before it became the watch of choice for professional divers, explorers, and yes, even secret agents. In 1962, Sean Connery's James Bond wore a Submariner reference 6538 in Dr. No, and that single moment embedded the Submariner into popular culture forever. Collectors often call this model the Big Crown Submariner because of its oversized crown without crown guards. And today, it's one of the most valuable vintage Rolex watches on the market. Over the years, the Submariner evolved. The 5513 became a classic in the 1960s, produced for nearly 30 years. The 1680 introduced the date complication in the late 60s. And the 16610, introduced in 1989, carried the Submariner into the modern era with sapphire crystal and improved movements. Every generation refined the design without straying far from the original DNA. That's part of the Submariner's magic, constant evolution without ever losing its identity. The Submariner didn't just stay underwater, it became a cultural powerhouse. First, as a status symbol. The Submariner's versatility meant it could be worn in the office, at a black tie event, or on a dive boat. It became the one-watch collection for many people. Rugged enough for adventure, refined enough for luxury. Then came Hollywood. Beyond James Bond, the Submariner has appeared on countless wrists in movies and television. Steve McQueen wore one. More recently, celebrities from David Beckham to Tom Hardy have been spotted with the Submariner. But here's the key. While many watches become famous because of who wore them, the Submariner became famous because of what it represents. Adventure, status, timeless design. And that's where Rolex's marketing genius comes in. Their slogan, "A watch that can go anywhere," wasn't just clever, it was true. Few other watches work just as well in a wetsuit as they do with cufflinks. Now let's talk about why collectors are obsessed with the Submariner. On the secondary market, Submariners are one of the most reliable performers. In fact, most modern Submariners sell above retail because demand massively outstrips supply. Walk into an authorized dealer and try to buy a Submariner at retail. Chances are you'll end up on a years-long waiting list. Vintage models are where things get really interesting. The red Sub 1680, with the word Submariner printed in red on the dial, has doubled in value over the past decade. The Kermit 16610LV, released in 2003 for the Submariner's 50th anniversary with a green bezel, is another collector darling that skyrocketed in price. Some of the rarest vintage references, like the 6200 or the early Big Crown models, fetch six figures at auction. For many investors, the Submariner isn't just a watch, it's an asset class. And the debates. Collectors love to argue date or no date, ceramic bezel or aluminium, vintage or modern. That's part of what keeps the Submariner alive in the community. There's always a new angle, a new debate, a new grail to chase. If you could only choose one Submariner to own for life. Would you go vintage no date or modern ceramic? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. So, why does the Submariner continue to reign supreme? First, heritage. Few watches have such an unbroken line from their origins to today. The Submariner has been in production continuously since 1953, evolving but never straying. Second, functionality. Even today, it's still a serious dive watch with 300 meters of water resistance, robust construction, and one of the most reliable automatic movements in the industry. Third, design. The Submariner is instantly recognizable. Its clean dial, rotating bezel, and oyster case are pure classics. Rolex has mastered the art of subtle refinement, making small improvements without alienating collectors. And finally, prestige. Owning a Submariner is more than owning a watch. It's joining a club of explorers, entrepreneurs, celebrities, and everyday enthusiasts who all recognize its significance. It's aspirational yet attainable, exclusive yet universal. That balance of tool and jewel, of history and modernity, is what makes the Submariner not just relevant, but timeless. So here's the verdict. The Rolex Submariner isn't just the king of dive watches, it's the king of luxury watches, period. No other model has maintained this blend of functionality, status, and cultural weight for over 70 years. But do you agree? Is the Submariner still the ultimate grail, or has another watch stolen its crown? Let's debate in the comments. I read everyone. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Rolex Submariner, make sure you subscribe to Luxe Pulse. Every week, we explore the history, culture, and collector value of the world's most fascinating timepieces. Hit that bell so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.